Welcome back to Take a Break. I'm Tim Stenovec. The Trump-led effort to reject Biden's election victory is gaining support among Republicans on Capitol Hill, including Senate Majority Leader McConnell. But declarations about voter fraud without evidence and refusal to accept defeat could have lasting implications on the party. Here to explain is Bloomberg's Anna Edgerton. Anna, it's great to have you back. Why is there so much hesitation among Republicans to recognize Biden as the projected winner?
Yeah, they seem to be taking their cues from the head of the party, which of course is President Trump, rather than taking their cues from the election result, which, of course, was called in favor of President-elect Joe Biden. So this is a position that we've seen from most Senate Republicans, not all of them. There's a handful that have recognized Joe Biden as the winner of the election. And we heard it again today from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell just now speaking on the Senate floor, where he said, tensions can run high during elections, but we all just need to cool it and wait for the results, which is a little bit disingenuous because we, of course, already have the results. So he seems to be kind of trying to walk this delicate line between giving the Trump campaign room to still contest the results and also not fully endorsing their claims of fraud.
Well, what's so puzzling to me about this, Anna, is what we saw play out in the election, which was an embracing of Republicans in the House and Senate, but a rejection of President Trump. So isn't there some political risk for Republicans going all in on somebody who voters already rejected?
That's an excellent point, and totally worth repeating that these ballots that Republicans are contesting are the ballots by which they kept control of the Senate and won a lot of House seats. So it's not like Democrats could rig the election but only rig the presidential race, right? You'd think if there were illegal ballots being cast, they'd be cast like down ballot for Democrats. So it just goes to show how difficult it is to take these claims seriously. And also the number of votes that are being cast, that are being questioned, aren't even enough votes to change the election if irregularities were to be found. So, this definitely looks like more of a strategy to kind of confuse and cast doubt on the beginning of Biden's first term, but doesn't really have much legal backing behind it.
I woke up this morning, Anna, and I read the news and I saw that this is still being denied by President Trump. And I asked myself, how much longer is this going to go on? And then today I read that voting experts are now counting down the days until the safe harbor deadline, which doesn't come until December 8th. What is the safe harbor deadline, and why does that offer some sort of idea of when this actually could be, when the country could move on?
Yeah, that's the day at which the electors elected by the states are finalized. So the Trump campaign only has until December 8th, which seems like a long time, to contest the results from the states. And to just remind people about the process, once the states finalize their results and certify those results, then those are actually electors that go to the Electoral College and cast their votes in favor of the candidate that was chosen by their state. So, we do have a winner in the presidential election, but there's a bit of a process set forth in the Constitution to actually finalize the election.
Has President Trump's, his legal case certainly hasn't changed, but I think support changed a little bit in the last 24 hours with this news from Attorney General Barr, his memo about voter fraud investigations. Does that change anything at this point?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not a material change, but it does kind of change the tenor of these challenges, because before these legal questions were just kind of raised by Rudy Giuliani at a press conference, and they were shot down by the courts in which they appeared. None of them had really managed to progress farther, past being just filed. But with this memo from Bill Barr that we saw yesterday, he has instructed U.S. attorneys to investigate these claims. Now, he said, don't go looking into any far-fetched specious claims, although it's hard to see where the line would be drawn, because he says, don't investigate anything that's baseless, but go ahead and look into these. So, it's a delicate line that Bill Barr is trying to walk, and one that we've seen from him before, in trying to support the president and his messaging strategy, but not step outside the bounds of the institutions in which he serves. But, that's really hard to do. And there is definitely going to be questions raised about the long-lasting damage this does to our democratic institutions.
Yeah, and it's a really good point. And as you mentioned when we started speaking, it seems to be one of the goals here is actually just to prevent President-elect Biden, I should say, from hitting the ground running when he does get inaugurated on January 20th, 2021. So what happens to the Biden transition team in this entire transition process if Trump continues to push back?
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to get on with the business of the transition, without having access to the government files and agencies and resources that they need. So, President-elect Biden had this briefing with his coronavirus task force that he named yesterday. So he's already talking about the virus, thinking about ways that his administration can address this really awful crisis that our country faces, and kind of trying to keep focus on the things that we should be united on as Americans, is confronting the economic crisis, the pandemic, all the challenges that we're going to have to get on with in the beginning of next year, without having access to all of the resources he needs. So it's going to be a little bit of messaging, a little bit of study work from the Biden transition until they actually kind of get the keys to the city, if you will, get access to what they need from the government.
Bloomberg's Anna Edgerton in Washington. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon. We appreciate it.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.